What's going on, YouTube? Nox here. Today we are going to be talking about some Last Epoch. I've been enjoying that for about a week now. Launched about 6 days ago, and the servers were terrible. So I decided to play offline mode the entire time, and I've really been having a good time with it. I've gotten to empowered monos with 2 characters now, this one probably being my favorite, and it is this necrotic dot-based Warlock here, specializing in Chthonic Fissure and Chaos Bolt, which is the footage you're seeing in the background. Super fun build to play, super zoomy, and I will go over that here shortly. Quick little brief note about Last Epoch and how I feel about it. I think the game's very solid. I did play it in pre-launch significantly long time ago, well before many of the masteries were even released, well before Rune Master, well before multiplayer, all of that. And I got to endgame then, and I enjoyed it then, and I enjoyed even more now. So solid ARPG. As many have said, it is a very good in-between between Path of Exile and Diablo 4. So if you like either of those games, you will probably like this game. I will say that its downsides are obviously its server stability currently, but that seems to be clearing up significantly, and its lack of endgame. However, I would say that there's a substantial amount of endgame here for those of you who just like ARPGs. If you're a person that likes building multiple characters like I am, and you like that sort of gameplay style, then there will be plenty here for you guys to do. So that's my 10 cents about the game. Try it or don't, it's entirely up to you, but I've been enjoying it. I'm going to be making some Last Epoch content for this channel, and then we can jump in and talk about this character real quick. So the Warlock is one of the newest masteries, as they're called in Last Epoch, that have joined the fray in 1.0, and I've really enjoyed it. This character feels absolutely insane damage-wise, essentially from Jump Street. Just from right from the go, you level Acolyte, the minions do quite a bit of damage early on, and transitioning into Warlock is super smooth. Chthonic Fissure does a ton of damage. It feels really good to press. The sound effect feels good. We'll go over that here shortly. Really solid. I would encourage you guys to give it a try if you haven't already. Definitely give it a go. My version is focused on necrotic damage, and I will get into the character now and show you guys how I built it. Jumping in game here, we have our Warlock, and let me just turn the game audio on real quick just so you guys can hear this. It's pretty good. Like the sound feels good. It feels crunchy. You'll notice there's a ton of debuffs on the enemy. And I'll quickly go over how I built this character. Again, this is not a build guide by any means. I'm not far enough into the game to really min-max this character, so I don't want you to follow everything here to a T, but this is how I got through and into empowered monoliths, and how I got my first ever Orbis kill. So I am enjoying it so far, and I will be re-rolling into something else here shortly. So quickly going over the passive tree. Again, this is just my little take on it. You don't necessarily have to copy these. 7 in Bone Aura, 8 in Forbidden Knowledge, 1 in Mania of Mortality, and 4 into Unnatural Preservation. Jumping into the Warlock tree. 5 in Spiteful Decay just for the bonus. We have 5 in Soul Stealer just for the bonus. 6 into Unholy Torment because flat damage is very strong in this game. 5 in Occultist Mind for the bonus, 5 into Harrowing Armor for the bonus, 5 into Dark Protections for the bonus. You're noticing a theme here. I do take 1 point into Spirit Leech. This is the only way that we get Leech in the build. You can throw a couple more points in here if you'd like. Entirely up to you. 5 in Malefic Body. Intelligence is strong. Scales everything that we do. 5 into Wither. 2 into Encroaching Darkness just to get over here to Duskbringer. We have 5 in Chains of Ruin, again for the bonus, but also to get over here to Grasping Damnation, and over here to the Ashen one, which again we put 5 points in to get into Grimhild's Domain. And finally 3 points into the Accursed Seer for more defensives. Again, I'm not going over any of this stuff in detail. You guys can read the passives in game. This is just how I've built the character so far, and it seems to be serving me well. For the skills, we do have Chthonic Fissure. I am coming up here to Chaotic Rupture. Chaos Bolt is a significant portion of our damage in this build, and it's also applying Damned through its tree. Chthonic Fissure is shooting Chaos Bolts. You'll notice as I click this here, some of these bolts will come out will be Chaos Bolts. It's very nice and very strong. Once you get this is what I rush here first. Once you get this, the world's sort of your oyster. You do so much damage, everything in the game just completely evaporates. So definitely would recommend rushing here first. Gloom and Flames is good. That's just what makes it extra long. There's 2 of them here, and yeah, so just gives you some more damage that way. I come down to Twisted Waves and to Grimtide, and I come down to Eradication. Again, not set in stone. This is just what got me through the game. I will revisit this build, probably min-max it, and we'll go on from there. I am spec'd into Transplant. This is just for the increased cooldown recovery and some buffs that we are getting when we transplant, including haste and bone armor. Talk about Chaos Bolts quickly. Chaos Bolts have a chance to inflict Damned, which is one of our main dots. You'll notice it here stacking up. It is the dot that has 40, 50 stacks, 60 stacks right now in the video. It's doing a significant portion of our damage, so having Chaos Bolt apply Damned is a good idea. Now you may notice that there's Damned on multiple sections of the build, and that's because in this game, when you have more than 100% chance to apply a debuff, it has a chance to apply 2 stacks of that debuff if it stacks. So Damned stacks infinitely. So the more damned chance we have, the higher the damage and the higher the stacks go. We have 3 points in Exalted Misery. All of these damage multipliers stack on top of each other. So this is 48% damage if you have all 4. I do come down to the burn, so that way when we're hard casting Chaos Bolts, it does extend the duration of Chthonic Fissure. Jumping back over, we are coming down here to Devour the Damned, so Chaos Bolt gives us mana, and over here to Pandemonium, so it has extra area, and we take another Affliction to add a curse to the target. Warlocks gain a direct benefit and a more damage multiplier per curse on the target. You're not going to be able to see it because my camera's in the way. Let me just move that real quick. 5% more damage per curse on the target. So the more curses we have, the better. Let's quickly chat about Profane Veil. This is simply for utility here. I do come over to Stream of Profanity just to reduce its cooldown when we cast a curse skill. And importantly, Penitent Tangent. This is the other required node I would say for this, and that is simply because it gives another curse that deals fire damage when we hit them. We are hitting a lot, so this is doing a considerable amount of damage as well. Our final specialization is Spirit Plague, which is another curse. With my setup, this is free, so we can just spam this on a single target. We come down to Plague of Eyes, so it deals additional damage. Again, flat damage is very, very strong in this game. Efficacious application is very good as well, just for some mana efficiency and increased duration. We do take Rotten to the Core, and I throw the last point into Plague Bearer. We're not doing that much poison damage, but there you go. Gear is totally scuffed. I do have +2 to Chaos Bolts on my helm. This just gives me some extra points in there so I can fill out some more talents. That's one of the cool things about this game if you haven't played it. The plus the skills adds extra points that you can spend in the talent tree. I think it's a very elegant way to do it. Plus the skills doesn't directly scale the damage of things, but what it does do is give you extra points to spend in these trees here, which in turn can scale the damage. I think that's a very elegant and nice way to handle plus to skills. And a lot more fun too, because when you get more points, you can customize more. I basically have health everywhere I can get it, mana regen on several places, some cooldown recovery, and I'm stacking necrotic damage and spell damage. So there's a helm, mana, Chaos Bolts, and health. Base, I literally just picked up this base off the ground. This is as good as I got it. And then I added the Chaos Bolts to it with the crafting system. For the amulet, I have necrotic damage, spell damage, health, and res. For the wand, I have spell damage and necrotic damage and necrotic penetration. Necrotic penetration is very strong in this build because that's most of the damage that we do, and it does apply to your dots, to my understanding. Somebody correct me in the comments below if I'm wrong about that, but to my understanding, necrotic penetration applies to damage over time as well. For the chest, we have health, int, and some resistance. For the offhand, we have necrotic damage and some resistance. This is kind of a 2-stat piece right here. For this ring, I do have some mana regen and some health. For the belt, I have mana regen and some resistance. For the other ring, I have basically some resistance and a teeny little bit of damage over time. For the gloves, I have cast speed, health, and resist. Boots, I have movement speed, vitality, and cooldown recovery. And for our relic, I have some damage over time and some resistance on a necrotic damage base. There's a lot of upgrades here that I could do that, again, I'm not really going to be touching on this character. For our idols, we just basically have some resistances and some health when I can get it. And we do have singularity here because we're not critting that often. So this is just 18% more damage with our Chaos Bolt hits. And that's pretty much the character. Like I said, I'm not really... This is not a guide. You don't necessarily have to follow this. I'm just encouraging you guys to give this character and this mastery a try. And this is one way to do it. I don't really want to sell this as a guide and sell this as an endgame pushing thing because I've only gotten to about 200 corruption. I've killed Oribus one time. That's it. So the Oribus you're about to see is my very, very first one. I was at 100 corruption on this one, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.
You and I are bound by the same chains, champion.
I don't know what that does. Oh, he does nothing?
Chains return, but what of yours?
Not bad.